This is section 2.5, literal equations. A literal equation is an equation that involves two or more variables. Up until now, we've just had one variable on either both sides or one side. So your first step will be to add and subtract whatever's being added or subtracted to the variable. Your second step will be to multiply or divide whatever is being multiplied or divided by the variable. And then finally, we're going to plug in a number for x and then solve for y. So with this one in the top left of your notes, we want to get y alone. So I'm going to underline y. So we're going to take our 3x as our first step and bring it to the other side. That's a positive 3x. So we'll subtract 3x. The 3x's on the left cancel out. I'm left with 6y equals, and then 6 minus 3x, they're not like terms. So we're just going to leave it as 6 minus 3x. Our last step in this equation is going to be to divide each term by 6. And again, the y and the 6 are multiplying, so we have to divide those. They'll cancel out on the left-hand side, so I'm left with y equals 6 divided by 6 is 1. And then just be careful with your negative. A negative 3 divided by 6 is going to be a negative 1/2 x. And that's your final answer for that problem. If we move to the second equation, I'm going to draw my line. Same thing, I'm going to bring the x to the other side. This time, the x, it's a negative x, so to cross that red line, we're going to add x to both sides. They'll cancel out. Just be careful. I've got a negative 2 y that I have to bring down. Don't forget to bring down that negative. That's a mistake we often make. And then 16 plus x, they're not like terms again, so we'll leave it as 16 plus x. From there, I'm left with that negative 2. So the negative 2 and the y are multiplying. I'm going to divide each term by negative 2. So I'm going to divide the 16 by negative 2 and the x by negative 2. The negative 2's will cancel out. I'm going to be left with y equals 16 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative 8. And then there's a 1 in front of that x. So really that's 1x divided by negative 2. And that's reduced into its simplest form. So we'll go minus 1/2 x. And again, that's your final answer. We've got our y alone. So y equals negative 8 minus 1/2 x. We'll do these next two problems. We'll solve for y at the end of these two problems, but everything else is going to stay the same. So again, we're getting our y alone. So we want to subtract the 2x to both sides. Again, I've got that negative 4. Don't forget to bring down that negative 4y equals, and then 20 and 2x aren't like terms, so we will keep it as 20 minus 2x. My y is not alone yet, so I'm going to divide each term by negative 4. Negative 4's cancel out. I'm left with y equals 20 divided by negative 4 is going to be negative 5. And then a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. 2 divided by 4 can reduce to 1/2 x. A lot of 1/2 x's in here. Let's then solve for y. So when x equals 2, let's see what y equals. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 2, we're going to plug it in for that x, and then solve. So we'll rewrite our equation. Y equals negative 5 plus 1/2 times 2. So again, order of operations says we'll multiply the 1/2 and the 2 first. So we'll get y equals negative 5 plus 1. Half of 2 is 1. And then negative 5, y equals negative 5 plus 1 is going to get me negative 4. So again, when x equals 2, your y equals negative 4. We'll do one last problem. So again, I want to get my y alone. So my first step will be to add 6x to both sides. On the left-hand side, I'm going to bring down my 3y equals, and then again, negative 6 plus 6x, they're not like terms, so we'll just leave it as negative 6 plus 6x. My last step here will be to divide by 3 on each for each term. My 3's cancel out, so I've got y equals negative 6 divided by 3 is going to be negative 2. And then finally we're not going to have a 1/2 x, and then 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2x. So let's solve for y when x equals 4. So I'll rewrite my equation. Y equals negative 2 plus 2, and then we'll substitute 4 for x. When we solve that, we'll say y equals negative 2 plus 2 times 4 is going to be 8. And then my last step, y equals negative 2 plus 8 is going to be 6. You can always put this step here in your calculator, and that should give you the right answer.